What's poppin'? It's your boy Bread Pill Black, and today I'm gonna talk about racism. Warning, if you suffer from white fragility, you will dislike this video. Everyone knows racism is bad. Sadly, a lot of people, conservatives, don't really understand what it is though. Thankfully, this video will help educate them and other people who can't seem to understand simple concepts. So, what is racism? A layman would use the dictionary definition that says racism is the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, especially to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. It gives an idea, but at the same time it's way too vague to describe the phenomena as racism. I'm an educated person, so I will use an educated definition. As stated by Vanderbilt University, racism is the systemic subordination of members of targeted racial groups who have relatively little social power in the United States, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and Asians, by the members of the agent racial group who have relatively more social power, whites. This subordination is supported by individuals' actions, cultural norms, and values in the institutional structures and practices of society. It is the action that perpetuates discrimination among those with little social power within a given country, such as the U.S. Racism can be explicit, implicit, and/or systemic. I will say this though. Black people and other POC can be racist, but not to white people, especially in the West. People of color can be prejudiced. They're discriminatory as fuck, but racist? No. Overt racism or explicit racism is the intentional and/or obvious harmful attitudes or behaviors towards another minority, individual, or group because of the color of his or her skin. This is socially unacceptable racism. It includes any speech or behaviors that demonstrate a conscious acknowledgement of racist attitudes and beliefs. This form of racism seeks to reinforce and maintain white supremacy ideology, distinguished by the blatant use of negative attitudes, ideas, actions directed at non-white racial groups, and can be practiced by individuals, groups, institutions, and across societies. Example of this can be calling minority slurs, committing hate crimes, lynchings, blackface, weaponizing police, and brandishing racist imagery. Overt racist actions are the easiest to see and describe as racism, unlike the more insidious or covert forms of racism. Funny enough, conservatives will only say these actions are racist. Covert racism or implicit racism is racial discrimination that is concealed or subtle rather than apparent or public. This is socially acceptable racism, and a type that conservatives don't believe count as racism. And when I say conservatives, libertarians too. Implicit racism are acts to subvert, distort, restrict, and deny racial minorities access to societal privileges and benefits. The key feature of covert racism is that its disguised nature allows perpetrators to claim plausible deniability, and to essentially gaslight their victims. That is to deny that the act was racist and undermine any claim of harm, may be implicit as a result of unconscious bias that exists within an individual, regardless of ill will or any self-aware prejudices. Examples of racism are racial profiling, believing in stereotypes, hiring discrimination, respectability politics and tone policing, denial of racism, performative allyship, colorblindness, and white silence. There is systemic racism, but that will be explained in part 2 of these series. In the short, racism is wrong and more than just feeling hatred toward another group like conservatives and reactionaries like to believe. Racism has evolved to the point where many people don't even realize it as such. They think it is just the standard, the status quo. But after watching this video, hopefully now, you know better. Just fucking with y'all. Racism is prevalent and will be for the foreseeable future, if I'm being honest. To fight against it is better to educate the people who hold these racist ideas. Racism isn't taught, it is learned, so it can be unlearned. Anyway, it's being a boy Bread Pill Black, and thanks for watching, and hopefully y'all learned something. Peace.